Part 1 of a 3-part series. Mothers, be careful not to kill your daughters. Welcome to Gentle Men's, a space where we tell the truth. Softly, but completely. This isn't a show about judgment. It's a conversation about healing. And sometimes, healing begins in the places we've been taught to keep quiet. Today's episode may stir memories, questions, or emotions you've avoided for years. That's okay. Here, your feelings are safe. You don't have to defend your pain or explain your story. You only have to be present, honest, still, and willing to listen. Because what you'll hear today isn't meant to shame anyone. It's meant to shine a light on what silence has hidden for too long. This is a message for mothers, for daughters, and for families who are ready to stop pretending and start healing. It's a message that I needed to hear over 30 years ago. So take a deep breath, settle your heart, and let's begin this journey, one truth at a time. There's a kind of death that doesn't make the obituary page. It's quiet, invisible, and slow. It happens in the hearts of daughters who were never protected. And worse, never believed. Some mothers kill their daughters without ever lifting a hand. They do it through silence, denial, and self-preservation disguised as motherhood. They do it when they choose reputation over truth, when they choose control over compassion, when they look away from the pain they caused or the pain they allowed, and pretend that pretending makes them innocent. The agony for the daughter begins long before the argument. It starts the moment she realizes her mother sees her pain as an inconvenience. When every cry for help is labeled as drama, every outburst called ungrateful, every tear seen as manipulation. She grows up learning to swallow her screams because no one is listening anyway. And by the time she becomes a woman, her silence has become her mother's comfort. When a mother fails to protect her daughter and then fails to acknowledge that failure, the wound never closes. It festers under smiles, under family dinners, under those awkward Mother's Day photos where the daughter stands stiffly beside the woman who taught her how to fake okay. What's worse is when the mother begins to twist the story, when she portrays the daughter to friends, to family, even to her grandchildren as the problem. She's always wants attention. She's never satisfied. She just likes to be difficult. When in reality, that daughter is drowning in the pain her mother refuses to name, and that's where the killing happens, not all at once, but over time, with each sarcastic remark, with each manipulation, with each conversation that turns the daughter's truth into an accusation. The mother becomes more heartless but cloaks it in. I'm just being honest. She'll say nasty things and call it tough love. She'll hide behind a lifetime of I did my best, while the daughter bleeds emotionally from wounds that never healed because they were never allowed to. Every explosion you see from a daughter who grew up this way, every blow-up, every breakdown, every so-called attitude problem, is not madness. It's pressure. It's trauma screaming through the cracks of composure. Because even pressure on a pipe will make it burst if it's never released. And sometimes the only way a daughter's pain gets acknowledged is when she erupts. And then, even then, the mother shakes her head and says, "See, that's why no one can deal with you." This is what denial does. It takes a mother who should have been a safe place and turns her into another battlefield. And the daughter, no matter how old she gets, keeps fighting for peace in a war she never started. And it doesn't stop with her, because her children, the grandchildren, start to see the cracks. They see their mother's pain when the grandmother walks into the room. They hear the disrespect disguised as jokes. They watch their mother bite her tongue, smile tightly, and bear the burden of keeping the peace at every family function. And they learn something dangerous, that love means enduring pain silently, That's how trauma becomes generational. The truth is, some mothers only know how to love when times are good, when the daughter is smiling, achieving, performing, making her proud, and pretending. But when that same daughter is broken, struggling, depressed, or angry, the mother's affection evaporates. She doesn't comfort, she criticizes, she doesn't listen, she belittles, she doesn't ask, "What happened to you?" She demands, "What's wrong with you?" That's how a daughter dies on the inside, little by little, by never being allowed to be her full, flawed, healing self in front of the one person who should have been her refuge, in front of the very mother who never acknowledged how she failed to protect a child who was too young to protect herself. Mothers who do this rarely see themselves as toxic. They'll say, "Her daddy spoiled her." But love without accountability isn't love. It's control. They'll say, "She just needs to forgive and get over it." But forgiveness isn't healing when the wound keeps being reopened by the same hands. They'll say, "I don't know why she can't get along with me." But the truth is, the daughter doesn't dislike her mother. She hates the pretending. She hates the gaslighting. She hates the disrespect. She hates the performance of motherhood that leaves no room for truth or compassion. And the wound deepens even more when that same mother wraps herself in religion. When she stands before others, Bible in hand, speaking about mercy, compassion, and forgiveness, while her daughter sits silently in the pew, knowing that none of that grace ever reached her. The daughter listens as her mother teaches Sunday school, leads Bible study, or counsels women about faith, family, and peace, and she wonders, how can someone preach what they have never, ever practiced? Every time her mother brags about her walk with God, it stings like salt in an open wound. Because the daughter knows the truth, she has lived the opposite of that testimony. She's endured the hypocrisy of a woman who quotes scripture but cannot apologize, who prays publicly but refuses private accountability, who behaves as though God didn't specifically instruct parents not to provoke, to anger the children he trusted them to raise for his glory. All this, while the daughter, still loving, still faithful, must pretend in front of others that her mother truly is who she claims to be. She smiles while listening to her mother praise God, but knowing her mother has only delivered herself from guilt, not from sin. This hypocrisy burns deep. The daughter was drilled on how to hold herself accountable. Her mother was her first mirror. She made sure that her daughter learned how to turn the mirror toward herself. But her mother, the one who should model humility, only turns that mirror outward, always believing the lesson is for everyone else. And that constant denial forces the daughter to carry two burdens, her pain and the pretense of her mother's holiness. The grandchildren notice, too. They see their mother living her faith quietly, struggling, yet sincere. And they see their grandmother cloaked in public piety. They recognize the contradiction even before they can name it. And while the grandmother hides behind the shield of being godly, the daughter bears the silent agony of watching her children witness spiritual hypocrisy up close. That kind of distortion wounds generations because it confuses what faith should be. It tells children that religion is about performance, not transformation. It teaches them that God can be used as cover for cruelty. And when the pain becomes too great, the daughter finally distances herself. The mother tells the world she's ungrateful, that she is being her typical selfish self. No, she isn't. She just finally decided she needs time to heal. If mothers only understood how heavy the silence becomes, how cortisol, shame, and heartbreak start breaking down the body itself, how depression feels like walking through memories that never get resolved, how resentment feels like poison in the bloodstream. Some daughters don't make it to old age. Their hearts give out. Their bodies collapse under the weight of being both the injured child and the emotional adult caretaker to the woman who crushed them. A good mother, a truly loving mother, doesn't hide from the truth. She faces it. She owns it. She apologizes when she's wrong, even if it's 20 years too late. She listens without defending. She nurtures instead of denying. She shows empathy when she lacks understanding. And she understands that peace between her and her daughter is not optional. It's vital to the family's survival. Because when the mother refuses to heal, the daughter carries both their pain. And that pain becomes sickness. It becomes anxiety. It becomes distance. It becomes another broken generation trying to figure out why love hurts so much. So mothers, be careful. Your silence might feel safe, but it's slowly suffocating your child. Your refusal to face your failures might feel like strength, but it's killing connection. And your inability to say, I was wrong, might one day be the reason your daughter stops reaching out to you. Be careful not to kill your daughter. Not with words, not with denial, not with pride. Love her enough to tell the truth. Love her enough to take responsibility. Love her enough to stop pretending. Because what your daughter needs most isn't perfection, it's peace. And if you can't give her that, then she'll have to find it without you, and that too will break her heart. One more time. If you're still listening, I know this one hit deep. You may feel anger or sadness, maybe both. That's what truth does when it finally finds air. It doesn't always feel peaceful, not at first, but healing never starts in comfort. It starts with an uncomfortable awareness, and awareness is what allows us to finally exhale. So right here, right now, let's practice that together. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose. Hold it for a moment, just enough to feel what you've been carrying. Now exhale through your mouth, not to erase the pain, but to release the tension that lives beside it. Again, inhale, courage. Exhale, denial. Inhale, truth. Exhale, the need to perform. One last time. Inhale, love. Exhale, control. You don't have to have it all figured out today. You don't even have to forgive today. You just have to stay aware, aware of what hurts, aware of what's real, aware of what you need next. And if you're a mother, I hope you'll look inward. If you're a daughter, I hope you'll look upward, toward peace, not perfection. Because both of you deserve rest from this cycle. Gentlemen's is about that rest, that release, that reminder that it's never too late to start again, with truth, with tenderness, and with yourself. Breathe one more time. You made it through this conversation. Now let the healing begin. If this conversation spoke to something deep inside you, please stay with me, because the story doesn't end here. Part 2 of this 3-part Gentlemen's series, The Daughter Who Survived Her Mother, is for every woman who learned to survive love that wasn't safe. It's for the daughters who carried guilt that was never theirs, who kept peace that cost them their voice. In the next episode, we'll talk about what healing looks like when survival finally turns into freedom. Because surviving isn't the end of your story. It's the start of your becoming.